In a small village nestled between rolling hills and lush forests, there lived a young man named Ethan. From a young age, Ethan was very different from the other villagers. His thoughts wandered far beyond the boundaries of the quaint community, and his dreams soared higher into than the tallest spire of the village church. Despite his kind heart and gentle spirit, Ethan found himself labeled as an outcast by those around him. He grew up with two siblings, both of them in honors classes. And while Ethan himself was in special ed classes. He always lived in. He tried, he always couldn't measure up to his other siblings, and he always felt like he was a shadow in his siblings' footsteps. Raised in a strong Catholic family background, Ethan's faith Ethan's faith was unwavering, but he still had his head high. He found solace in the words of the Bible and the songs of praise that echoed through the walls of the village church. But at first he questioned the words of the Bible, but then but then um but then he had a personal encounter with God in a different church 3 years later. Um, well, as he grew older, he did. He messed up in his teenage years, but as he grew older, he started to mature a bit by surrounding himself with more godly people. However, his unconventional ideas and unorthodox beliefs set him apart from his peers, leading to whispers and sidelong glances wherever he went. Despite the judgment and ostracism he faced, Ethan never wavered in his faith. He still remained strong. Well, at least tried to. Instead, he turned to his God-given gifts of writing and singing to express his love and light that dwelled within his soul. He always had a passion for writing and for encouraging others, and he's often been told that he was a good hugger. But for some reason, he still had that hole in his heart. Wonder why. In the quiet hours of the night, he would retreat to the peaceful solitude of the forest, penning heartfelt poems and crafting melodies that sang of hope, redemption, and the boundless grace of God. One fateful day, news spread through the village of a fierce storm approaching, threatening to ravage their homes and fields. Panic gripped the hearts of the villagers, and they hurried to secure their belongings and seek shelter. In the midst of the chaos, Ethan stood calmly in the village square, his eyes closed in prayer as he sang a song of peace and protection. He prayed, and thank goodness that he grew up around prayer warriors, or else he would panic he would panic and worry. So as the storm clouds gathered overhead and the winds howled with fury, a miraculous thing happened. The tempest that threatened to destroy the village suddenly veered off course, its destructive path diverted by an unseen force. The villagers watched in awe as the storm passed harmlessly by, leaving their homes untouched and their hearts filled with wonder. In that moment, the villagers saw Ethan in a new light. They realized that his uniqueness was not a curse but a blessing. a gift from God to guide and inspire them in the darkest hours. For you see, Ethan always loved to encourage others, but the one person that he couldn't encourage was himself. He always had self-doubt about himself, and always feared the worst case scenarios. He always felt like an outsider, and was always socially awkward around people. He always doubted himself, and if he ever made one mistake, he would get frustrated at himself. Ethan felt very alone and felt very lonely, and still felt very, very sad that he couldn't measure up. He felt worthless. He felt like nobody understood him. Ethan felt very, very sad, and he cried himself to sleep sometimes. And Ethan would pray and pray and pray, but to no avail. But it feels like God had forgotten about him. Ethan felt very, 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 very lonely. He wanted to give up. He was like, why even bother if no one's gonna take me seriously? Why bother? But then something happened. Something happened one day. Ethan's voice rang out through the village with the newfound clarity and purpose that came from a voice in the middle of the night saying, I'm with you. Do not give up. Keep fighting the good fight. For I am with you and I will not abandon you. For I always come back for the 1%. And even if you mess up, I'll always be with you with open arms. Through all the hours of the night. All the hours of the day. And you do not need any appointment. You do not need an appointment to talk to me. And I always leave that porch light on for you. So from that day on, he found a new voice and clarity and purpose and a new identity. He turned his life over to God. He turned his life over to God, and he started to trust him little by little. And as the day went on, and the days turned into weeks, weeks turned into months, and months into years. His poems and songs became more profound and touched the hearts of all who heard them, bringing comfort to the weary, hope to the downtrodden, and love to the broken. He became a beacon of light in the darkness, a voice to the brokenhearted, and a voice to those who deal with mental health issues, and a living testimony to the power of faith, forgiveness, and the boundless grace of God. And so remember the story of Ethan, the outcast who became a hero, who became a broken vessel of the Most High God. Let his journey remind you that no matter how different or misunderstood you may feel, your light shines bright in the eyes of God. And may God always and may you always trust that and in God that to break those generational curses. But also God is gonna bless you with generational blessings as well. So embrace your uniqueness, trust in His plan for you, and let your faith be your guide through life's storms and trials. For in the end, it is not our differences that define us, but the love of and grace we share with one another. For if we can love other people, then for if we can love other people, then God, then who knows where God can lead you to minister to. For if we can lead other people, and think of who else God can use you to minister. And that's the gospel truth. God bless.